December 7th, 1941.
More or less.
And you had given notice you had quit your job or you had gotten a leave, probably it was a leave of absence sort of thing, right? They probably...
Well, I mean, going to the recruiting office is just a matter of taking off an afternoon, or a morning, or a Saturday.
But I mean, the spirit of the patriotism of the place was such that you would have had a job when you came back.
Oh, yeah.
It was like a furloughs, or I don't know what the right term is, deferment of employment, perhaps, something like that?
Well, I think most companies gave employees who joined the services the opportunity to come back. But
Were there any...
I don't remember any formal letter to that effect.
Did you have any enlistment parties, or, I'm not sure what you call that, but, something or was that just not done?
I don't remember any.
I suppose your sister was probably sorry to see her uncle, her Peter's uncle leave, and you probably were not. Were you dating anyone at the time, or was it something that you were footloose and fancy free, so to speak?
Very likely, yeah.
You don't remember specifically if you were... I see.
I don't remember any going away parties or anything like that. There might have, possibly at the factory, there might have been a lunch with my staff or something. I don't remember.
Because by that time you were actually in a supervisory situation. You were no longer a trainee,
I was a foreman
so to speak.
of a particular department.
In manufacturing of soap. Now, so you took a train to Chapel Hill, North Carolina, or a bus, or do you remember any of that? For the screenplay, it'll help.
Good question. I don't remember. I don't think we were allowed to have cars there, so I must have taken a train or a bus.
And
I'm sure I didn't fly.
did you store your things? Did you end your lease with Stan, or did he of the farmhouse? Mundane little things here. I'm just curious about. I mean, was this the sort of thing of where you were thinking maybe you'll go to combat, so you were thinking, you get all your stuff in order and not quite writing your last letter to your family, but it wasn't that sort of a thing, right? I mean, you fully expected to come back.
I might have sent a bunch of things by parcel post to my parents. Who would have stored them. Probably some of my college things had already gone to them. But I don't remember specifically.
Now, you up to this, Dad? You all right? You up to? You okay?
Yeah.
So you arrived basic training, and this was not like a regular Navy boot camp, right? Because this was Navy Air Force. So it was already a specialized flight school, so to speak. Maybe you could first say your feelings about it. Was it like, were you excited about this, or was this something you kind of dreaded, or that you were doing your duty, or?
No, it was nothing so exciting. We weren't going into flight training. We were just taking courses that related to it, like meteorology or aerology, and aircraft and ship recognition. You would learn, or at least try to learn, to recognize a German dreadnought or cruiser or destroyer or German bomber or fighter just at a glance like that. In other words, they put something on a screen for a second or a fraction of a second, and then you'd make a note as to what each one was, if you could recognize it. And then I think there were some aircraft mechanical things. And then obstacle course and
The physical training
Yeah.
part. Now, how many of you in that particular group, and how long did that last?
the class must have been 100 or so.
And you would be in barracks with
Yeah,
half of them
we
or
were
something? Or?
strictly enlisted men, given the same treatment as enlisted men. We weren't yet officers. We were in what was an officer training program, but it was really boot camp.
Cadet or something, I suppose.
Yeah, well, that's right. We were formerly air cadets.
I see. Now, when did you start flying with the?
Well, after several months or whatever it was,
Oh, was
in
that
North
long?
Carolina,
Uh-huh.
we went out to Olathe, Kansas, near Kansas City, Kansas.
Olathe.
Yeah. And there we did our primary or basic flight training in biplanes, single engine biplanes. And that was basically doing all stunt-like maneuvers.
So it was actually pretty fancy flying then. You were preparing for combat.
Well, yeah, you had,
Already.
we had to learn the evasive type maneuvers, but not the advanced type you'd have with a high-powered single-engine one-wing plane, but whatever you could do with a biplane at fairly low speed, but it involved the classical things like Immelmans and dealing with
Immelmans are like figure eights in the sky?
oh
or-
yeah, figure eights and all that.
Like you do rolls?
The graveyard spiral, and then you'd get into a spin and be spinning down toward the ground and learn how to get out of it. Just all the basic maneuvers.
This would be initially with a flight instructor in the
That's
rear,
right.
and you would
That's
be in the front, and
After a certain time, you would solo. It didn't matter that I already had a pilot's license and had already soloed, because a different type of aircraft and different maneuvers. I couldn't have done the kind of, some of the kinds of turns that you did in training when I was in single engine Aeroncas or Piper Cubs. Probably tear the wings off or something.
so it was that, again, a few months of that, or several months, or?
I guess it was, I don't think it was several months. Must have been more than 3 or 4 though. Well, maybe it was a half a year or so.
Wow, that's a pretty
Because
extensive training program.
besides the time in the air, there was a lot of classroom time.
And when did you become an officer then? What after that flight program?
Good question. I guess we got our wings and our commission at the same time, but not then. From Olathe, we went on to Corpus Christi, Texas, and flew, what do you call them? Water, and, actually, I think one of the models was an amphibian.
Oh, with
In
pontoon.
any case, we flew pontoon trainers,
Mhm.
as well as land-based craft.
Still biplanes or?
Yeah, basically.
Mhm.
I guess we got into the single-wing SNJ trainer by them.
Mhm. Is that a lower wing or a?
Yeah.
I see.
lower,
Mhm. And a bigger engine and
Yeah.
and Corpus Christi, you said, for again a few months there.
Yeah, we went there very long, and then we went to Pensacola, Florida, for more advanced training. I don't know where we got formation flying, maybe at Pensacola.
You had told a story once of a accident in which one of your colleagues totaled and crashed his plane and died. Was that at Pensacola or was that at Corpus Christi?
I don't remember. What, did I tell you something like that? I mean, there were casualties in both places.
Any close calls
I
for
think-
you or?
No, I didn't have any close calls, and I don't remember a particular friend losing his life there.
Was there attrition from the program, from people who?
Oh, yeah, there
couldn't-
was attrition. People wiped out or flunked out or were killed or whatever. I don't know the rate of attrition, but there certainly was.
So then at Pensacola, you were then flying fighter aircraft?
No, it was still the trainers, SNJ, basically. I don't think we got into anything heavier than that. Let's see. I can get out my logbook at some point and tell you.
Well, just
I have a logbook that goes all the way through.
well, that's a good thing to know.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
It only says the type of aircraft, the hours in the air, and whether it was a cross-country trip or just local.
Now, at whether it's at Corpus Christi or Pensacola, it was just flying from the base into that
Yeah.
environment. It wasn't like flying from like you did
I
later
think
on.
at Pensacola we started into instrument training in simulators.
Really, simulators.
You know,
That was there a visual like airports that you would land at with? I mean, that's
you're in a capsule, and it has something like a television screen. And as you approach a particular airport, there's a view on the television screen of the runway for that particular airport. And as you come down, you can see the runway coming up at you, and then you learn how to level off at the right altitude. So it involves some depth perception of a virtual kind rather than real.
So
And then there were there were training sessions where you didn't see the screen, it was just the lights of a runway, and you were on instruments, and you had to land on instruments, or fly from point to point in a simulation of an instrument flight. So it was fairly advanced training.
Yeah, it sounds like advanced technology for the time, right? I mean, did they have cameras that would simulate the motions you would make on your,
Well, the capsule itself, in which you were seated, would move from side to side and back and forth, so you'd get the feeling of being in the air and shaking around a bit.
hydraulics or something?
Yeah,
Uh-huh. But the visual, what you're seeing would react with what you were doing with controls, and I see. Wow. Mhm. And this was, but it was way before computers, right? So how was that?
well, there were, you might say, they were rudimentary computers, not digital, but mechanical computers. I mean, you know, there were, back in the early, I suppose, 17th, 16th century, there were mechanical computers.
Right, yeah.
And so there were various ways with relays and what else they call them.
Like there was,
Hydraulic, mechanical, electrical, all these devices work together to operate a simulator.
now, why would say like a bomber pilot had been a different program?
Well, it would be similar, except that they would go on into multiple engines. We only
I guess the Navy didn't
learned
have
to
too many.
operate
of those,
one
right?
engine at a time with its problems. And a bomber pilot would go into 2 or 4 engines.
The
And they
Avenger was
would
probably
They
the,
would have much more night flying and navigational instrument flying. But they would also learn to fly with co-pilots and radio operators and navigators and so on.
well, why don't we, with your permission, move on to where you get commissioned was that a choice you had made to fly ferry airplanes from
Well,
one
yeah,
coast to
one
the
of
other?
the choice, I forget whether we had 1, 2, or 3 preferences to express on a piece of paper, but one of them that I had was testing and ferrying, and another was combat, and another was, I don't know whether I put teaching or not. Teaching generally was pretty dangerous because your student could bring you down. But in any case, I got testing and ferrying as my orders to go to Floyd Bennett in New York.
And this would have been about 1943 by this time?
Yeah, something like that.
Because it was, so Floyd Bennett in New York, and any of your class from flight school still with you, or it's pretty much your own now?
And I don't remember. There might have been 1 or 2. You see, in testing and ferrying, you soon are running on a different schedule from anyone else. You start off at different times. You pick up the plane from the factory at different times. You may start right off with it. You may 1 or 2 days, depending on the weather. All the flying has to be fair weather flying, CAVU.
And is there,
So if you have a friend who's in the business, he might be in San Diego or Long Beach, California, while you're in New York, and then you pass on the way back and forth. So as far as I was concerned, my life, after each delivery across the country, we would get at least 2, sometimes I guess 3 days or more. So we stayed in the dormitory, the officers' quarters at Floyd Bennett. But I would go into New York. And Larry Lader and Bill Ting had put me up for the Harvard Club, so I would stay there. They converted the swimming pool on an upper floor. Before the war, they had a medium-sized pool on an upper floor.
Wow.
Especially reinforced, I suppose. But during the war, they put a floor over the pool, emptied the pool, and had a dormitory with little cubicles, a bed, a bedside table, and a lamp. That was about it, and some place to hang clothes. So you could easily spend 2 or 3 nights there and be comfortable. And I think it was only like $5 a night, something very inexpensive, even at that time.
Bill Ting, I'm sorry, Larry Lader?
Yeah, Bill Ting was another classmate.
Is he, it's the first time I've heard you mention his name.
Well, we weren't really well acquainted. I think Larry got him to put me up at the Harvard Club. Larry, I think they were together on the Crimson, and Bill was also with Larry in starting the radio station. So I would have known Bill Ting, or at least he would have known me as an underling, sort of, on the radio station.
So this was more than just this thing you were talking about of something on the ventilation pipes. This is actually a radio.
Well, it got, I think a classmate named Oliphant was taking technical courses of some kind, maybe radio specifically. But the early story about it was that the signal went through the heating pipes, or the water pipes. Whether that's feasible or not, I mean, I didn't question it.
But this was a radio station,
But
legitimate.
in due course, they got an allocation of a wavelength for regular broadcasting. Whether that happened while I was still there or not, I'm not sure. But it's lasted. It's quite a thing now. They
So
have
that's when it started then.
elaborate studios and elaborate programs.
Larry was part of the people who started that program then.
Yeah, well, the Crimson the Crimson newspaper, the daily paper, staff, some of the staff decided to get into broadcasting, and so they started the radio station.
Now, we're jumping around some, but you were saying you had, when you'd come to New York, while we're on the subject of college again, what would you do for like Christmas holidays? Would you like sometimes go back to see your parents, or what?
I think I went back at least once, maybe more. I can distinctly remember once staying in Cambridge and peeling potatoes in the basement of a restaurant.
As a job.
Potatoes by the barrel. That I don't know whether that was freshman year or sophomore year, but
That sounds pretty rough.
I think one Christmas, one of the crew members, a New Englander, as New Englanders are likely to do, he was very, very hospitable and thoughtful, and he invited me to his home for Christmas in Boston. And that might have happened actually twice, different people. I forget his name now, but I can certainly remember it and recognize him, and I saw him once later in life, besides at reunions.
Now,
anyway,
you I think wife had asked you about this yesterday, but you didn't, and you had said that you didn't really feel like well, Wythe was talking about in his own case with remembering Tokyo and how far, or how, I don't know how far he's come, but in any case, how, he was asking you about how you felt about home in that case, and we were talking about how you had moved so many times and around the Midwest, and but did you have a lot of like homesick type of feelings, especially freshman year, or no, nothing? I mean, it was pretty exciting stuff, I suppose, for you. And so, but holidays like that one, peeling potatoes must have been.
Well, yeah, you get lonely. There are not too many people around. I suppose I studied some. I must have had some social life. I don't remember what it was. But no big deal, as they say. I mean, you just work to make a little money and get your meals. And I could live in my room, college dormitory, or dormitory if it was freshman year, or the house if it was junior year.
Now, do you think that I know you've talked about how you can actually, when Peggy's not here, you feel like you're just fine.
Well,
I suppose lately
I have
you're
no
not.
problem being alone. I mean, it's not the same as having Peggy here because she's a real companion, but there's always something to do. Communicate. I don't correspond with any of you three, or even Amy very much, and I've been neglecting my grandchildren. I'd like to be writing to them and so on, but I have so much to catch up with, as you can see.
Well,
that the time, I don't feel lonely, I just feel that I've got time to do something.
I was thinking that in reviewing your experiences, how it's remarkable how you're actually quite comfortable without that kind of some people are very uncomfortable unless they have family or close friends around them all the time, and whereas I think for you actually need that time of your own.
Well, I don't know if I need it, but it's been my life. I mean, you can imagine changing schools every year. You go into a classroom, you don't know anybody, nobody knows you. You have to prove yourself one way or another. The teacher questions what you are and who you are and what you can do. So it's an adjustment that you make every fall. And then you make another adjustment in the spring when you leave for someplace else. So I was shy, but I was sort of self-sufficient.
And I think maybe that was the word I'm looking for, self-sufficient, that you're not, because you're by no means a antisocial person.
No, I have no antisocial feeling. And on the other hand, I don't say I'm self-confident, because being shy and not having much athletic ability, not being big or strong, being sort of average, I didn't develop an abundance of self-confidence. But self-sufficiency, yes. I mean, I could get along by myself pretty well. And then in the Boy Scout, when I was 3 years in one place and got involved in the Boy Scouts the first or second year, there was a chance to develop a little leadership, and that helped.
It's 7.
Who was that? So,
Well, maybe we could wrap up the well, I guess we were gonna get to the spiral of death and your flying experience there.
You
know,
mean
the
the
part of ferrying airplanes and
graveyard spiral?
graveyard spiral, yeah. Maybe we could finish up with that story.
I thought we went through that.
No, we didn't record it. We were talking
Oh.
about it, I think.
Oh,
Why, we were just talking about it, weren't we? So, what was, can you cue us up?
well, that was the one, well, maybe no, I had, I suppose 2 or 3 close calls in, in ferrying between New York and the West Coast. But this was the most dangerous one because we were, as I told you, we flew always on CAVU, that's ceiling and visibility unlimited rules. So you had to be able to see forever and have nothing over you to fly. I mean, there are certain exceptions to that, but nevertheless, you can't always, when you take off from a particular airport, Navy air station or whatever, you can't always be sure that the meteorological or aerological forecast is correct. And even if it's correct for a given period, weather can move in very quickly. So on this particular flight, I suppose I left from Atlanta, Georgia, or maybe Lynchburg, Virginia, I'm not sure.
And you had your girlfriend, or what was it now?
No,
A friend
I
with?
was flying a TBM, which is the Avenger torpedo bomber, which can accommodate a passenger when you don't have a gunner or a navigator or a bombardier. You can accommodate a passenger down below. And there was a Navy Wave, which is a woman Navy officer, who wanted to ride to the West Coast, so I invited her to come along. She was, I mean, sort of hitchhiking. People